Oh, hello, everybody. It's been a long hibernation where our bodies are ready and our butts are unplugged of the pine cones. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, Kick-Ass Raven Game Podcast from Affable. I'm one of your host, Adam. Been in Seattle for a week. Oh, that was a fun time, Gumbert. And today we have with us Chad. What city or cities were you in recently, Michael Ennis?
I was recently in San Jose, California.
Mm-hmm.
Still am.
Ooh.
Okay.
Also, I learned recently, speaking of hibernation and butt plug pine cones, I learned recently, maybe I've even said this on the podcast before. When I was a kid, cartoons, and I feel like school taught me that when bears hibernate, they sleep for like 4 or 5 months at a time.
Right.
That's not true. They just fucking lay there. They sleep some of the time, yeah, but they just lay there and not move. You know, like if they do move, it's like, oh, I'm going to go crawl over here and lay in this corner of the cave. I'm going to go here and lay in this corner of the cave. But hibernation is not just like I am unconscious for 4 months, like I was led to believe it was by fucking corporate America.
I mean, I have no comment on the matter. I can't confirm or deny these allegations.
Don't know who that voice is, but everybody welcome. He was at a bike ride recently, Alexander Kozina.
I don't know, guys. I think this weekend is trying to kill me. I don't know if we're going to get into everything that's been going on in my life recently. I know we really want to hear desperately from what Adam has been up to over in Seattle.
That seems smart ass as hell, doesn't it, Chad? Everyone wants to know what Adam's been doing. Go ahead, Cozy. Give me a hard time.
But let me tell you, some crazy and wild things happen at my bike thing. Maybe we'll get into them towards the end, but we obviously have a lot of other priorities that we need to address on this episode. Thank you once again for the soda bottle open. What's interesting is, for people that don't know, typically that is like not even the first like soda bottle open, soda can open that I've heard on this podcast recording so far. They're opening up soda cans left and right when we're just getting things set up. So that means these boys are just getting juiced up because they know it will annoy me.
So here's what
I
it
have
is.
I have a resealable soda can.
Just do it over and
It's
over
empty,
again.
and I just do it over and over.
We also have with us Joel Campos running the ones and the twos. Thank you, Joel, for being here.
I'm here.
Love it. By the way, so Cozy, the reason I did that is because I listen to every podcast that people I know are associated with. And you were on Mr. Hawks' podcast like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you mentioned the soda can thing while you were talking. And I'm like, I actually haven't done it in a while. I better do it again because Cozy wants to bring it up. So this is actually your fault.
Okay.
If you want to think about it that way.
You can tell it's his fault. Look at what he's wearing.
Well,
He was asking for it.
oh, yeah, you were absolutely asking for it. Catch us live on Twitch.tv/Affable Idiots. Normally Sunday evenings at 8:30. YouTube podcast services 9 a.m. Eastern time. Coming up first, here's what happened. Your boy went to PAX West. And I am legally obligated to talk about it on a podcast so they can keep inviting me back. And then after that, I also have a review for a Devolver Digital game that I got.
Whoa.
So it's basically going to be Adam talking for 30 minutes. At any point, you guys have something to say, please interrupt me so I can rest my mouth. But we're going to go through it. All right, so first up, PAX West 2024. First thing I'm going to do is talk about the games that I played at PAX West, because it's always fun. For those who don't know, PAX West Video Game Convention, it's the biggest thing that you can go to in America.
Having in Seattle, Washington.
This one is in Seattle. Yes, correct. So I'm going to talk about games first, and then I'll have the fun stories later, because the fun stories were... Because you know how crazy our stories were? I think that these might have topped it. I think there's one story in particular that might have topped that one. Even the piggy thing.
What about the bag of flour?
That's pretty good. I mean, it's up here, you know? Oscillating between the two. By the way, anytime I talk about a game that sounds cool, please make sure to wishlist it. They continue to say that. Wishlist our game so we can get it out on a bunch of consoles and make money and whatever. So do that.
By the way, I completely forgot about the bag of flour. That was one of those things where it's like, for certainly there was a way that we could have resolved the flour situation that was a little bit more competent, that didn't involve me spilling flour everywhere. And I don't know how it didn't happen.
And searching for like 27 minutes in Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was wild. So first up, so the fun thing about getting media to go to PAX, we didn't do this when we went, guys, at East, but if you go the first day, there's a thing called Media Hour, which for an hour beforehand, you can go out on the floor and do whatever you want. And I spent that time playing Dead Rising. What?
You can go out there and bang. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, I suppose. You probably shouldn't, but maybe. No, I spent it playing Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
The new remastered version.
DRDR. Right. I probably should have spent it doing something else. I thought the game was fun. Here's the thing about Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, is that it's very pretty. It's like, again, the idea of a perfect remaster is it reminds you of what you thought that the game was back then, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh no, this feels like a modern game, but it's Dead Rising. And I had fun with it, and it was a good time. The only thing is that, like, this is very much exactly Dead Rising, so it's famously, I like Dead Rising, but I don't like having a time limit. And then playing the demo and being like, oh, you've only got 20 minutes before this thing ends. And I'm like, oh my God, that's right. And it's the exact, all that stuff's the same. Like, they didn't change any of that stuff. It just looks very pretty and modern. So I think that's cool. If you've never played it and you're interested and you like the other game in the series, for sure, check it out. But I'm just like, you guys didn't change, which is fine. You don't need to change this kind of stuff. But Adam, I can't do it anymore. It makes my palpitations go crazy. And then I went
wild. That's wild, though, that, you had an hour of unrestricted access to a ton of new games that are unreleased, and you said, let me go play this Xbox 360 launch title.
I was with the crew, and they wanted to go there first. I'm like, awesome. And then after that, I just stopped going to stuff. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll do it later. I should, like, Monster Hunter Wilds was there, which apparently very, very cool. People who don't even like Monster Hunter World are like, no, this game's actually dope. Zelda was there. Even that line was even crazy in Media Hour. It didn't matter. So I was like, let me try this first and I'll move to something else. And then I just sat in the lobby and walked around and found out where stuff was. But yeah, Red Dead Rising.
Remastered.
Then the next thing I did, my actual first appointment, I went to go see the Behemoth. People know them as the makers of Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theater.
I have toyed with the idea of forcing the group chat to play Castle Crashers by way of like gifting them that game and just saying, hey, I paid money for you to have this game. Let's all play it. But then I'm always worried that, like, this game came out while I was in college and who knows if it holds up still. I don't know.
Let me tell you, that booth, super busy. People are still into that. The fun thing about this was I was expecting to go and just play some games because they have, like, HD versions and new kind of stuff like that at the con. But they were like, why don't you do an interview? And I was like, I didn't want to do an interview, but I'm here. I guess I'll do an interview. So I got to sit down and talk with Dan, who's the co-founder and art director of the studio. The guy's been there for like 20 years. So I just got to talk to the head of Behemoth for like 25, 30 minutes. Basically, he was talking about like the roadmap and like the plans for the future of the studio and what they're doing. Talked about the DLC for Castle Crashers, which is Painter Boss, which is I didn't realize this. So again, it's wild. The game is 20 years old almost, Chad, and they're adding DLC to Castle Crashers now, which is crazy. Yeah. But the idea is that you can like kind of mix and like make your own character classes and stuff. Like you can like remix part of the game and stuff. And he was just talking about like the game on Steam has workshop functionality, so anybody can make any skin in Castle Crashers once that DLC comes out. So you can literally be like, okay, my barbarian just looks like Darth Maul. And we're talking about like getting that through cert and like the legal ramifications of people being able to do whatever they want in your video game. It's like that one's a little farther off because we got to figure out all that stuff. But we talked about new characters and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, Castle Crashers is great. It was a good time. That one definitely seems a little bit farther out, but like you said, buy your friends Castle Crashers and make them play it because it's a good video game. And again, DLC 20 years later.
We got D-Smitty in the chat. First of all, came in correct, where I tweeted and say, hey, make your best robot sound in the chat. He said, pee pee poo poo, pee pee poo pee, pee pee. Great robot sound.
Yeah, very good.
But he's also saying, hey, I'll play it with you. I'll play whatever you want to play. I'm playing Gears of War with you. To which I say, Dallas, you're playing Gears of War with me on half the days that we've agreed to play Gears of War because your schedule doesn't allow you to. So maybe if we run out of all the Gears of War games to play in the next 7 years when it takes us to get through all of them, then maybe we'll play Castle Crashers DLC.
I mean, I'll play
Darth Maul Barbarians.
Yeah, I'm about it. I'll play Castle Crashers. But the main thing they were talking about was Alien Hominid. It's coming to PlayStation 5 and 4. So that was like the new thing. That's the newest thing that's going to come out, is that game is coming to PlayStation now. So that was the main thing they were showing. I got, oh man, where did I put it? I got a fun little thing. They gave me I won't show you the back of it because it's my code for the video game, but they gave me a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's like like it moves around. It's hard to see on a camera for some reason, but very cool, and that's what they were showing off. Alien Hominid, very excited. And coming to PlayStation, get all your trophies and stuff. Again, a game that came out who knows how many years ago, and they're like, let's put it on a new platform. Let's keep doing that thing. And so they was talking about the timeline. It's like first things coming up is Alien Hominid. Obviously, it's very soon. The next thing is an update for Battle Block Theater, because why not? Let's keep doing it. So that was fun. And then they were talking about what they're going to do next. And he was like, we're interested in doing new genres. Something new and interesting. I was like, you're going to tell me? I'm like, I know you're not going to tell me. But I asked him, and he said new stuff. And then, because he's the art director, we talked about the art. And he was like,
they have a very distinctive art style, too. So I assume whatever they're going to do, they're going to... Like, you see a screenshot for a game, you're like, oh, yeah, that's Behemoth.
That's Behemoth. And yeah, he said he's like, his exact words were, I want to make it striking and simple. He's like, I even talked about it. It's like, Michael Bay Transformers are so busy and over designed that it like hurts my face. And he's like, yeah, I get it. He's like, I want a thing like very simple, but you understand what it is. And I was like, yeah, that's what you guys do. So it was fun. He was so fun to talk to.
Everything's just a circle with the name of it written in Times New Roman in the middle.
Absolutely. It works.
It's so simple.
It was actually really fun talking to this dude. I had no idea I was going to talk to him, and then talked to him for 29 minutes. It was a great time. Thank you, PR team, for setting that up. And then he basically talked about, he's like, why should, when a DLC or a video game come out, should you stop supporting it? Because, like Battle Block, or not, Castle Crashers is about to get DLC after all this time. He's like, we're going to keep updating that. We'll update the DLC. And he's like, people are still playing our games. Why would we abandon it? Instead of being like, our big expansion came out, goodbye forever. So that was cool. It was fun. So my question here, I do have a prompt for the panel.
Ooh.
Do you guys have a favorite Behemoth game, or a game that came out a while ago you still play every once in a while? You cannot say Destiny, Chad, because that would be your answer.
I will admit I've only ever played one Behemoth game. I've only ever played Castle Crashers.
Okay.
And played the shit out of it in college. So, I like that game a lot.
I am currently reviewing Behemoth's website just to confirm that there isn't anything that I've actually played that I'll say I haven't
You're reviewing
played.
their website. What is their website out of 10?
It's actually very clean. I appreciate, let's be honest, their games, they definitely are very much of that era of early to mid 2000s Flash games that you can find on Newgrounds, because they probably were. And
they literally started at like making Flash games before they formed the studios. Like
exactly, and I feel like the website does a good job of presenting these, slightly old-fashioned looking games in a really great format. Scrolling through this website definitely makes me excited to play something like Castle Crashers, because I've never played Castle Crashers or any game of that ilk. I will say, going over to your alternate question, I mean, the thing about me is, like, I'm always playing like some old Pokemon game from like the GBA era. Yeah. The GBA era is filled with no shortage of games that I find myself going back to over and over again. And so that almost feels like, doesn't even count for me, because I know you mean something like a little bit more perhaps specific.
That counts. Playing Pokemon still in 2024, old Pokemon games still count. I think that counts.
Sure. All right.
I was today years old when I learned that their company is called The Behemoth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who knew?
T-H-E. By the way, the director, I said, which one's your personal favorite? He said Battle Block Theater is his favorite game of the studio.
Of all time?
I think his most preferred game that they make.
Has he played Zelda Ocarina of Time?
No, he's talking about their games. The Behemoth games. I think that's his preferred one. All right. Moving on next. God, I'm not even watching on Twitch. Did we have the B-roll playing in the background? I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we had. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Joel's on it.
I love Joel so much.
Quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to say I'm still on the Behemoth's website. Battle Block Theater. Don't worry, I'm actually going somewhere with this. Battle Block Theater, the only game on the website that underneath it has the OG Xbox Live Arcade logo for it. Because all the other games, you can get them on Nintendo Switch, you can get them on Xbox Series consoles. Battle Block Theater, you can only get currently on Steam and Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, available on Xbox Live and Steam.
Yeah. Seems like something they probably might want to rectify in the future.
Well, that's the thing with Alien Hominid. It was also on everything except for PlayStation until it's going to be very recent. So I think it's the idea of they're going to start bringing stuff everywhere.
For sure.
But next up, a little game called Tears of Metal. Or is it Tears of Metal? I did not ask them. I should have done it.
It's actually Tears of Metal. So.
Oh, okay, that's how it
is. You're worried about the wrong word.
Absolutely. So this is a game from Paper Cult Games, the makers of Blood Roots. The trailer that we're watching now was shown at Summer Game Fest. And it's a medieval hack and slash co-op roguelike game. Carve through hordes of enemies to reclaim your island with the help of your formidable Scottish battalion. So the thing is, I played the played the demo. Did not realize it was 4-player, but I was like, oh, this game's going to be even better with 4-player. It kind of, in the way that the guy explained it, and the way I felt, it kind of reminds of an old school Dynasty Warriors. Because the idea of Dynasty Warriors, I don't normally like those games, but it's the idea of that, like, when you're just fighting normal dudes, like, you can kill like 3 or 4 normal dudes at once, no problem. And like, that's super fun. It's not like the new Dynasty Warriors where it's like, I swipe my sword and 100 people die. But it's much more like, you feel strong, but you're not like anime goofy strong. But then they're all tougher enemies you actually have to really fight. But then, yeah, it's got the roguelite stuff to it. So like, you have to build up a camp. Your soldiers and stuff get better with your run and they upgrade. And yeah, the whole idea is it's this really cool kind of cel-shaded art style where you go through runs and like retake the Scottish Isles. And I loved it a lot. It was very fun. It felt excellent. And I think this is the first time they've ever had the game playable. Maybe it was at Gamescom. I don't remember. But it was like, it just got announced at Summer Game Fest and then it was here. And I was like, no, I beat the demo and like, so they give you 30 minutes of time. And he was like, oh, you must be good at video games because I beat the demo in like 15 minutes. But I was like, oh, I'd like to continue playing this video game because this is very fun and very good. So that was surprisingly, for this being like the first time people can touch it, I liked it a lot. So keep an eye on that one.
So real quick, Paper Cult Games is actually based out of Montreal. Quebec.
Montreal, Quebec.
Several years ago, there was this place downtown called Gameplay Space where occasionally independent developers would come and show off their projects in the making. And I actually got to play an early version of Bloodroots, the previous game that they worked on. And it was one of those moments of being like, oh man, this is really, really great. Like to the point that I'm actually going to stop playing this demo because I'm going to definitely want to check this out when it releases. Got it and played it when it released on consoles, and I ended up falling off. I would suspect that it's probably fixed by now, but I remember running into a few bugs on the PS4 version that kind of deterred me from wanting to go forward. But my memory of that game is still really, really strong. So there's actually a not impossible game that I might end up checking out, Tears of Metal. At the very least, your boy always has to be there to support his hometown. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. So next up, and Chad has talked about this game in the past, or the other games in this series, which was, I didn't tell Chad I took this appointment, but I was like, I took it specifically. I was like, oh, Chad loves these games. I'm absolutely going to do this. The next game I played was What the Car?
Oh, fuck
exclamation
yeah.
point. Question mark. So I talked to Sarah. She's the game's community manager.
Oh my God, I love Sarah. In this game, she's so cool. She's the car sometimes. Sometimes she's the wacky wavy inflatable R2 man sticking out of the car.
Are you just saying that?
No, I don't know who Sarah is.
No, Sarah's very nice. She works at the company. She's a very nice lady. But the reason that they were showing off, it was the PC version, because that game's already on Apple Arcade, I believe, right, Chad? It's how you've played this game before. And they're launching it on Steam September 9th. So if you're listening to the podcast, this game's out now. Go check it out. Go support.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. So I haven't played this one because I don't have Apple Arcade. And I was like, oh man, this feels good, especially with the controller. Excuse me. But yeah, it's really fun and goofy. Lots of, especially the demo, because they just gave us like 15 levels. So like because now that I've played the full game, because I do have the full game, they let me have it for like a review. And like, it's like you got the overworld and you go to the stages. But at the demo, it was just like, here's 10 of them, 15 back to back to back. And like the punchlines were like set up perfectly where it's like, oh, car with legs. And then it was like car with too many legs. But then you didn't have this stuff between. It's very funny. The game's hilarious. It's very good. Levels are quick. I also do like that. It kind of feels like, not in a bad way, but a mobile game where you're like, I just want to get the best time and like redo this over and over, get the secret thing and do better at it. So there's plenty of challenges. Good time. Again, it's out now. You can get it on either Apple or Steam. And you should, because I really like this game. I've listened to Chad talk about What the series for a long time, so I'm now a believer. And then Sarah was like, she found it interesting that they think that they make comedy games. Like they're like, our genre of games would be comedy, because like they're like, What the Golf isn't necessarily a golf game, but like I guess technically you have to say it's a sports game. And she was just talking about like, isn't it weird that we can't describe our game as a comedy game? Like this technically I think is like an action platformer, but then like the second tag is comedy or something, which is interesting that they don't have just a tag for comedy, because that's what the game is. I think that describes it the most. But speaking of that, they should have a category for comedy. You people on the panel, what is your favorite game that has funny parts, or you just straight up consider a comedy game?
South Park Stick of Truth.
That was mine. That's what I was going to say.
Yep, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, I realize I shouldn't be saying this as a huge fan of the series, but I mean, Kingdom Hearts definitely ranks pretty high in that regard. Both, but it's one of those things where, and I do want to get this on record, there's a lot of unintentional comedy in the Kingdom Hearts games. There's also a lot of intentional comedy that I think just goes over people's heads, that people just chalk up to Japan being weird. And I think that's true of a lot of other games in that sort of similar sphere. Metal Gear comes to mind, where there's a lot of unintentional comedy there. There's also a lot of 100% absolutely intentional comedy that I feel like we don't really acknowledge in that way, because it doesn't really conform to what we think of when we think of comedy in the West. But yeah, I'd say those are my two answers.
That's pretty good. Yep, South Park. I mean, South Park is basically just a season of that TV show, so that absolutely works.
I think it's interesting to think about,
like that one too.
The way that we categorize, like, you think of movies, and we categorize them kind of by the way that we feel when we watch them. Like they make us laugh, they make us cry, they make us suspenseful, they make us scared. Whereas games, it's like, how do we interact with them?
What do the buttons do?
We shoot. We're third-person shoot, or we first-person shoot? Are we solving puzzles? Like, that's interesting that we denote that.
Sarah's real smart. Now, Sarah, I'm sorry if you're listening to this and I misremember it. I think that she said that they actually have meetings about making puns. Like, they're like, let's sit down and let's think of a pun. Like,
I'm sure.
If I'm wrong, Sarah, please just forgive me. I like your game, but I think she says, like, we have like pun meetings where it'll be like, because there's one in the demo, it was like, okay, you played as it was like a carp, like car with, and then like apostrophe P, because it's like a car that's a fish. And it's like, oh, that's funny. That's a good one. And the next one after that was a shark one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm being silly right now. But it was like, you guys just sit around and think of these names. Yeah, we absolutely have pun meetings. So I'm like, that's awesome. I love that.
And they do, like, that's, not only do they do that for all the car levels, but they do that for all the bat levels and what the bat. They do that for all the golf levels and what the golf.
Yeah, they're all puns.
They got to work there. Their brains are cooked.
I briefly forgot that What the Bat was a baseball game. I'm like, oh, they made a bat-themed game where you're flying around being a bat?
They have to make a Batman joke, right? I think
it is the loosest... in fact, maybe there are only 2 or 3 levels in What the Bat where you actually play baseball. Everything else is just hitting things with a bat.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if there's a single level in What the Car where you actually are a car with wheels. So I don't think that it's a thing that they do. But after that, there was a little thing called the Mix, which is an offsite event. It's sort of the same thing where some of the indie games that were at PAX it was basically, it's like the indie, like they make a gathering, like a second event, and just show like indie games and like give them more. Because the PAX floor can be very packed. Again, everyone's going to the frickin' Nintendo booth and like not paying attention to smaller stuff or whatever. So there's an event called the Mix.
Some media indie exchange is what it stands for, right?
Thank you. Yes. And they also has a media hour, so I got to get in early. It's really cool. It's like this bar that's like 2 stories, and they clear it out. I think it's a bar. It feels like a restaurant or something like that.
Is this included with your PAX pass, or is this a separate
you just
thing?
sign up for this on a website, and if you basically just like, oh, you are at PAX, you can get in. Basically, is how it worked. But as I went through there, I got to meet the people from Toge again. Remember, we all saw Toge at East. Lovely. Aria was there again. Lovely folks. It was awesome to see them. I did play a couple games. One of them was Tethergeist. I don't know if I sent you anything of this, Joel, but maybe I did. Tethergeist, from their website, it's a precision platformer where the gimmick is you can produce a ghost, quote unquote, copy of yourself and then pull your body to it to beat challenges. And as I was playing this, we're going to get to who I was hanging out with later, but I was hanging out with Asa Green River. Well, yeah, Asa was just on our game show not long ago.
Yep.
And it was like, he was like, hey, do you ever remember playing the Swapper? And I'm like, oh yes, I remember that early PS4 game. And this game is basically the Swapper meets Celeste, where your ability is that you shoot out a ghost, but that it has a tether to it. So like you can move it around certain corners and move it that your character can't get through. And then once you get it over there, you zoom back to it, and that's how you do your platforming. So it's basically like these, sort of like Celeste. It's like, here's like a 1-screen challenge. You've got a couple of powers, and how do you get through it as quickly as you can? So it was super fun. It felt super tight. I like the gimmick of it, because you also have to like collect these little orbs that allow you to do the power. So it's like the yellow orb lets you do your ghost thing one time. And then there was a red orb that like, there are like flowers that push you away. So it's like, okay, I need to collect a yellow, 2 reds, and another yellow to get through this level correctly and actually do the platforming. So it was cool, but it's also very quick and snappy, where like if you get it wrong, reloads in half a second and you're back in. So Tethergeist, very good, very fun. I love a good... Honestly, more people just try to be like Celeste, because Celeste is so good. We don't see that often enough. I mean, 2 of my favorite games were Lucid and then this one. It's like, yeah, just try to be like Celeste. It feels good, guys. Let's do this more often. Next one I played, didn't know it was here, had no idea about it, is a game called Usual June, which
that sounds like the copyright-free version of Plain Jane.
Yeah. Unnormal Mary or whatever.
It sounds like Amelia Bedelia, like part of that book series.
What was the one with the bunny? The girl with the bunny?
Playboy.
No. It's like Unicular.
Rabbids Go Home for the Wii in 2009.
I don't remember.
Rita Rabbit.
No, Rita Rewind. Actually, Power Rangers Rita Rewind was there, by the way, guys. Like, no joke. Power Rangers was there.
Love it.
So that was cool. But no, Usual June, this was showed off first at last Game Awards. And this was the game that has the Spider-Verse art style, where it's like,
what happened to my video? Are you can you see me okay? Okay.
Yeah,
we're good. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Twitch stream and I was like, I looked like a freaking stretched out missing number from...
You're good. Joel, if you could bring up the video, because I want people to see the art style if you get a chance. But yeah, Usual June. It was showed off at the Game Awards last year. It is very much Spider-Verse art style, third-person action adventure, where you're this girl who's like, she can see ghosts, and then like you go on your adventure into like dealing with ghosts and stuff, but it also just has that really cool art style, which was funny when I got there. The first thing was like, oh yeah, I've seen this game. I remember it because of the art style, because not enough people try to do Spider-Verse stuff. And then it was like,
I was going to say, that's like the new gimmick. It's like, yeah, this is running at what, 20 frames a second, 14 frames a second?
It's like they only animate on 1s and 3s or something like that.
Finji.
Yeah, it's a Finji production. And I was talking to the person there, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm the art designer. The art team is the one showing the game off. Like, well, you're the person to talk to. But it's like, yeah, there's only Spider-Verse. Hi-Fi Rush kind of did it. South of Midnight,
yep.
And then there's like 3 things that tried to do this similar art style. I'm like, why don't more people do it? Because it looks great.
This looks sick.
Oh, it looks so good. And it was fun to play too. But yeah, that art style was like that. You sold me on it. And then you could have a fun adventure. The action was fun, kind of like hack and slash, run around, kill some people. I had a good time.
Finji, I recognize the name of the developer, and so I went and overviewed the games that they previously published. Tunic, Overland, Chicory, and Wilmot's Warehouse. Chicory, not a game I connected with, but Tunic, that game was my game of the year for the year 2022. So there is a not impossible game that I'm going to want to check this out and see what the Finji people are cooking up.
I'll make sure they'll blacklist your email account.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Also, I don't know why. I was about to say Finji folks because there's a better alliteration, but for whatever reason, I was like, I want to say Finji people instead. I don't know why my brain betrayed me in that manner.
My brain for the last 35 seconds has been saying Finji Mikami, Finji Mikami, Finji Mikami.
Finji Mikami. That's good. You should be part of the pun writing team over at that other development studio.
You don't know that I'm not. How else do I know, Sarah?
That's true. The car, for God's sake. Next up, I played a game called On Your Tail, and it's a game I normally wouldn't think I would like, except a little background. So I was rooming with Jacob McCourt,
nice,
Claire Helmberger, and Luke Lewis, Lukewarm, that guy,
Lukewarm P. Yeah, no COVID this time.
And Luke was working at this event. He was showing this game off. So Jacob had seen it, and Luke was obviously working for it. And they were like, by the way, like, you might not think you would like this game, but there's actually a cool twist. So On Your Tail, it's a cozy game where it's like you're on vacation. You're all yeah, it's a cozy game. You're anthropomorphic animals. It's kind of like a seaside, kind of like in Italy sort of a vibe. Where you meet the residents, you know who they are, you go fishing, you do, the thing of an idea of what those kind of games are. But the cool, really awesome twist to it is that like you're collecting clues. You collect clues on characters, locations, and events to help unmask the thief who's menacing the once peaceful town. So as you're doing your normal cozy, point at yourself stuff, it's also like collect these cards that are clues and like put them on your mind board and like figure out what's actually happening in this town. I was like, well, that's a fun twist. If you're gonna have me run around and cooking bread and catching fish, but then also like solve this mystery, dope. So was not expecting it.
I love the little game board pieces too. Like it's like a little board game. Like each person's like a little cutout in the little plastic thing that keeps them upright. And
that was a twist. I was not expecting. That actually makes this game much more interesting to me. So I was like, awesome, dope. And it just happened to be people that I know were showing it off. And then the last game, this game's wild. Swap Dash Meet. As a co-op roguelike third-person shooter where you drop onto a series of increasingly challenging planets and engage in combat with the unfriendly locals, swapping meat with the alien weirdos you defeat, loot defeated enemies for fresh meat to top off your HP, and fine-tune your arsenal abilities as you face down the next wave of weirdos. So yeah, basically you go onto alien planets and then like you kill something and like you take its like arms or legs or like top half of its body and then like continue playing the roguelike game. It's such a weird idea. It's like, why am I like, we're watching the trailer now. It's like, why am I half car, half squid? But it's just like, that's how the game works. They sent me a copy of it. I've got some like friend keys. If it's like a play test, if it's 4-player co-op, if you guys want to play it. But I was watching it over someone's shoulder and I was like, this is wild. I actually didn't get to play it, but I saw it. And then they hit me up with an email. I was like, yo, I definitely want to play that. Cause that is.
Wait, is it a PC only thing?
Yes. By the way, Chad, I checked everything that's PC. The Steam version of PC on Mac works for all these video games. I checked just for you.
Okay.
So all you got to do is download that free application, and you're good to go. But yeah, Swap Meet that's a fun and goofy one. So keep an eye on for that. And then the last thing that I did, which was not a video game, but was still. So here's what I liked about PAX. Right, at PAX East, it's all in one singular building. Right, PAX West has 2 buildings for some reason. It's fine. One building is all the video games. The other building is like tabletop and where the theaters for panels and stuff are. So in the other building where the video games weren't, again, the tabletop section was like an entire floor. And I went with Roger Reichart and Trina of Roger again was just on our show not long ago of Gamerheads podcast. And we played a game called Change My Mind, which is a card game. It is on Amazon now. I just saw it because I was Googling it earlier. And it's like one of those there are adult questions and non-adult questions, but it's one of those crazy card games where like it's a party game that kind of naughty. So the idea is, okay, let's say we're all 4 of us are playing it. It's like, Adam, here's the card. Here's the prompt. You label these from best to worst, and I'll put them. You have little counters, and you put like A to E, and you put it face down. Then you all guess and put them face down. Like, I think Adam would do this, 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 and this. And then I flip mine over to show what my ranking is, and then you keep your ranking to yourself, but then you try to argue and convince me to move stuff around. So the idea is try to get as close to me as you possibly can, but then also maybe try to convince me to move something so it benefits you. But like the first one is like, like what were the superpowers that, like, what's the best superpower or like worst superpower? And one of them is like every time you wink at someone, they have to eat their own shit. It was... They were pretty wild. It was like you always know something bad's going to happen, but you can't do anything about it. You walk through walls 40% of the time. And there's just like these crazy. And then the other card, I'm not going to say it because it's a little too raunchy, but it's like the worst thing to say during sex. And one of them was like, you're tighter than your brother. So it's one of those kind of games, but then trying to like get the ranking and trying to convince the other people like, you don't think that saying you're tighter than your brother is actually the worst thing you could possibly say? Maybe you should move that one up, buddy, because that's pretty fucked up. So that was cool. That was a really fun game. And yeah, that's all the things I played. I didn't make a ton of appointments because it was just me, but I definitely made sure to get around and check stuff out. So that was a good time. Are there any questions or comments before I move on to this last couple stuff?
How was the like floor in terms of, like, compared to PAX East where we went earlier? Like, does it seem like bigger, same amount of booths, games versus card area versus merch area?
It's probably the same-ish size. I think the game stuff was probably a little bit, because there was like Capcom was there. So like Capcom had a big spot and there was all that stuff, but it is spread out between 2 buildings. So like, again, the building with the tabletop stuff was much bigger than, because at East, it was just like the back part of the convention center. And this, it's like they get an entire floor of a convention center to themselves. But the game stuff, I think, was a little bit bigger in its own set of buildings. But I think they're both, it's good now because if you want to play games, you don't have to walk back and forth. Because you used to, if you made appointments, you might have to walk back and forth between the 2 buildings. You don't have to do that anymore. So I think it's set up well, and I enjoyed the setup. Oh, Chad's dead.
Oh no!
Oh no! In a second, I assume.
It's a good thing that at least we're set up with Video.Ninja, so we don't have to completely rearrange anything and everything.
Yeah. Cozy, did you have any questions before I move on to these last things?
I was actually curious. I feel a little bit bad asking this without Chad being here, but I mean, it's his own fault that he decided to leave us. His problem. Did you find it worthwhile to go to both PAX East and PAX West this year? Ahead of you going, I briefly chatted with you about it. I was like, hey, is this something that I would be interested in? And you're like, like, if you already have been to PAX East, like, it's not like you should feel obliged to have to go to PAX West as well. Overall, did you feel like, oh, yeah, that this was definitely worth going to? Or did you feel like, there's some redundancies? Or where'd you stand on it?
I say it was good for me and for what I was going for. Because I basically went because I was going to be on a panel. And I didn't take a ton of appointments. So that for the things it's always great to see the people, like our group of friends that we hang out with. Because I only get to see them twice a year. Totally worth it to me. And then again, there were new games. I made sure to check out new games because like I got a couple of emails like, come check this one. I'm like, I already saw that at East. I appreciate it, but let me see new stuff. So I think there's enough new stuff there. And what I was doing, it was fun and it was definitely worth it. If you were just a normal like ticket purchaser and you were like, should I go to both? I mean, it'd depend on you. And you'd have to look at the game list. Like, is playing Legend of Zelda early worth it to you? Some people it probably is, but it just depends on who you are. But I had different experiences, so it was worth it to me for sure.
Cool.
I had a good time. Chad, are you okay? Are you alive?
What's up? Yeah. Ethernet's out. I mean, Ethernet thing stopped working, so I switched to Wi-Fi. We're good.
Okay, cool. Making sure you didn't die. And the last thing was the panel. Again, shout out to Jacob McCourt. This is a Jacob McCourt household. We love this man here. If you want to pull up Joel, the picks for my trip.
I've got them up.
Yeah, I've got some panel ones. So Jacob, we did super video game trivia. If you want to just like as you're going through and scroll through some of those pictures, like that room got packed out like 5 minutes after the doors opened, and we had a blast. Everyone on that panel was great. It was a very good time. Asa was one of the people. By the way, when we did our game show, I was just scouting the competition, to be honest with you, because everyone there was also going in. But it was Asa was there with Stephanie from Boss Rush. Roger was there, teammates with Jill Grote, the Indian Informer. And then it was me, and then it was Baron, who we've also had. Yeah, we had Baron on. What did he do? Pokemon? I don't remember.
I think he did the engines as Pokemon one.
Yeah.
If not that, he's done something else.
Yeah. And then also the audience gets to play. So again, it's Jacob running his thing. Jacob's, again, like Chad said before, Jacob's pretty good panel host, I think. I think he's pretty solid.
Pretty good. He's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. But yeah, so that was a ton of fun. The questions were great. We had fun. Guess who was leading going into the final round?
Well, if you have to phrase it like that instead of saying guess who won.
It was me and Baron. We absolutely had the most points. The only reason, so technically the audience won again. The only reason is because I was like, hey, I did the same thing I did at PAX East. I was like, hey, let's bet 0. Well, whenever we did our Jeopardy knockoff, I was like, I'm going to bet 0 because last time I bet my points, it screwed me. So I'm like, let's bet 0, Baron, and hope they mess up, not realizing the audience has like 100 people that could possibly give them the answer. So like maybe we should have just guessed it. So technically we came in second, but technically we got the most points going into the final round. So me and Baron, I'll say, are victors. So that was a ton of fun. Everyone there was great. I loved it a lot. It was very cool. I hope I get to do something like that again because that was fun. And here's also the funny thing. What if I told you I went to video game trivia and me and my teammate had the most points going into the final round, and I was about 5 drinks in? Your boy was toasted. Let me tell you. It's because what happened was the order of it is that we had our day at PAX. The mix happened, and then the mix was like, hey, come on in. Here's a free drink ticket. I was like, well, thank you very much. And I was like, wait a minute. Why stop here? So basically it was literally we left the mix to go straight to our panel. So maybe 3 drinks in, maybe not 5. I was feeling it.
I mean, that was great. What you described is not dissimilar to how we recorded RAF Pretty Live from PAX East.
Yeah, a different substance, but it was definitely there.
I think that's your superpower, is that when you're inebriated, you are super knowledgeable about video game trivia. Because that was how you won the Video Game Olympics too, right?
I was
we won
on,
that together while you were on pain meds and
I was
drinking
on
whiskey.
when we won that. Yeah,
Oh, really?
And I think you were huffing ammonia and bleach together or something like that. No, I'm just
something crazy.
Because I was going to say, Adam did not win Rafferty Live from PAX East either.
No, because I bet points. I should have bet 0.
Your boy did, baby.
Yeah, but then outside of that, Joel, go back to the pictures just because I can't see them. So we talked about all the games. We talked about the panel again. Thank you, Jake. Thank you for everyone for being there. But we have some random pictures. Go to the very top because I'm just going to go off what's going on Twitch. I want to explain each thing. Yeah. Go to the very first picture. Even if it's the panel, that's fine. Just go back there again. Okay, so yeah, this is a picture of me hanging out. Me.
Was that Court Lalonde there next to Jacob McCourt?
Nope.
No,
Court Lalonde was not there. That's okay. Matt.
If you look closely in the corner, you can actually see me photoshopped out of the corner.
Yeah,
what's there?
No one sent us pictures of Cozy, by the way. We got 0 tweets with pictures of Cozy.
But this is the crew. Had a great time with all of them. I was on Boss Rush and did a PAX floor show thing and got to do an interview and talk about some of the games. Again, that's Corey.
And that's Asa.
Corey in the house.
Oh, I do actually have a cool bucket hat. By the way, that's my alien hominid bucket hat. Love it. I want to give her credit. So the other person in that picture, sorry, if you want to go back one, Joel, excuse me, Zelda stuff. God, I got to look it up. So here's the problem when you go to these things where like, I don't know every content creator and I'm like, oh, hey, you're nice. We sat down, we did our cool thing. And it's like, oh, you have a massive following. So it's Jess Rappaport, who is the head person at Zelda Universe and Zelda Wiki.
Oh,
which has like 300,000 followers on Twitter, and I'm sure a bajillion people. But very lovely person. Followed me back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are because I'm not on the internet. But everyone here was great. I love Jess and I love Ace and I love everybody else and Corey. Continue. Go on. Yeah, that's me with a bucket hat. Yep, let's go down here. Oh, yeah, so this is the panel stuff. That's all the people talked about. Apparently, so our gimmick was Meowth spare coins. That's why me and Baron have Meowth hats on. Whatever. He decided it, and I was like, I love it, bud.
Nice.
Bought that on Amazon for $30. We can go to our next group because we've already looked at these earlier today. Okay, so this one was at so What's Good Games recently just ended, which is Andrea Renee, Brittany Brombacher, and Rihanna's podcast. They had a party sponsored by Life is Strange, and we went to it. And it was a ton of fun. Again, this is another group of people this is basically the East crew and the West crew. This is all these awesome people here. Yeah, there was a hot dog man, apparently is a thing from the games was there. You could get photo opportunities. There was Polaroids, more awesome people.
Hot dog man and a hot sun projecting immense amount of light on everyone on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, right.
No, that was a very bright light.
Is hot dog man an anthropomorphic hot dog? Is it a man who sells hot dogs? Suit. Is it a man? Okay,
like in a mascot costume. So at the mix, I did meet Cleef Adams and Paris Lilly, but they were also again at the What's Good Games thing. So at the mix, I just said, hey, I like your guys' stuff. Gave him a handshake and moved on. But at this event, right here, for those watching on Twitch or YouTube, got to meet Paris Lilly. I was like, hey, let me take a picture with you. Here's what this was. I was 6 drinks in on this one. This night was wild. I was very drunk in this picture. But someone in front of me was like, the night was ending, and someone was like, hey, Paris, can I get a picture? And I was like, hey, Paris, we met yesterday. I didn't want to bother you, but I'm drunk, and that guy just asked for a picture, so do you care if I get one too? So this is my drunk picture I had with Paris Lilly, the nicest fucking human being on the planet. Oh my God, that guy's so great. Yeah, so that was the What's Good Game panel. And these are just other things. So here's me and Jacob McCourt scissoring.
Nice.
Ew.
Go back to the scissoring picture, by the way.
Ew.
That's what it's called. It's a wrestling thing. So this is is it pho? Is that you say it? PHO? Is it pho? Or pho? First time I ever had pho in my life. It was very good. Yeah, it's very good. Never had it before. Very good. This place was great. Go on to the next one. This is a place we always go. It's called Honest Biscuit. It's right there on the water. The best biscuits in the world. Again, this was the whole group taking the picture. Ooh. Biscuits are great. Love this place.
Is that packets of honey? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Okay. Is there one more after this, or is this the very last one, Joel?
There's one more. Okay, those are tiny, tiny tables.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. You showed me the next one just in case.
I was going to say, this is like the forced perspective like pictures from the Lord of the Rings movies where they make you look like hobbits, but you're actually like hobbits. People.
So we'll get to this in a second. All right, go to the last one real quick just because I want to shout out. Again, this was Roger. Again, this Trina. And then Asa. This was before I went to go to a bar, but they were about to leave. So I was like, yeah, let's go get, we went to a Mexican place and I got a margarita. But go ahead and go back to the last picture. Here's the story on this picture. Please, please people get on this, watch this video part. So again, this was our crew. This was everybody. We were hanging out. Again, these are all people we've talked to.
And they all said, let's go see Dead Rising Remastered.
No, only 3 of the people there.
Okay.
So basically, I think this was after the panel. Yeah, that's why Jill and Roger and everyone. Yeah. So this was after the panel. We went out to the Sheridan. Because, like at PAX East, there's that one hotel right next to it that everyone goes to.
Yeah.
The Sheridan is like that for West. And while we went there, again, they pushed a bunch of small tables to give us a big table. That's why the tables look funny. But see this guy right here in the blue shirt with like the trident mustache?
Yes.
So, again, we stayed there all night. Roger gave a toast because he's about to get surgery. It was all very lovely and very great.
That man did not know who anyone there was. He was just sitting by himself and everyone encroached upon him.
No, even weirder. This man, again, he's in our picture. He toasted Roger. He stayed with us all night. Nobody knows who this man is. This man in the blue, nobody knows who he is. So everyone, as we went to the restaurant, we're like, we assumed he's with someone else. Because again, we were like 3 different groups converging. We're like, I'm assuming he's with you. I'm assuming he's with you. I did the research over the next couple of days, and no one knows who this man is.
Hold on, the guy with like the mustache?
Yeah, the guy with the mustache. The guy sitting next to me. Nobody knows who he is.
Jared Petty
Nobody knows who he is.
So what the idea was, I put the story together as some people were walking by. There was a hot dog vendor down the street, and someone's like, "Oh man, those hot dogs smell good." And this guy was there buying a hot dog, and they were like, "Okay, cool." And they kept walking. Another group, I think it was maybe Jacob and Hooper, or somebody walked. I was like, "Oh man, those hot dogs smell great." And the guy's like, "Yeah, awesome, right?" Because this is the second time someone has told him these hot dogs he's buying smell great. And then he follows one of those groups of people, and then I show up later. And this man is already sitting at the table, and I'm like, must be one of your friends. So we hung out all night. This man is named Hot Dog Man. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows where he's from.
Is this Hot Dog Man from Life is Strange?
But he is in our group picture is Hot Dog Man. And I hope to God I can meet this man one day or follow me on Twitter because I want to know who you are because you're a legend. You have inserted yourself into a group photo. Nobody knows who you are.
Like, if nobody knows who he is, maybe he's Ryan Scott. Maybe he just let himself go since he was on the podcast.
No, because I know where Ryan Scott was on January 6th, so I know that's definitely not him.
Damn.
Sorry, Ryan Scott. But yeah, that was the fun trip. Hot Dog Man. There were 2 Hot Dog Men at this trip, and that guy right there was one of them.
Good for him, man.
Wow.
Shout out to him.
Like, going to giant things like this and not knowing anybody is like the reason why I don't go to giant things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for him to go and be like, yep, I have 14 new friends now, and we're also going to get tiny tables.
And they say that making new friends in your 40s is difficult. All you have to do is just insert yourself into a dinner party. Don't ever reveal yourself, and bam, you got friends.
Ah, man, wild. But moving on from that, PAX was great, obviously. We're going to have links for all the games here for wish listing and Steam and stuff. If you want to check them out, Chat will send them over to you for the description.
Are you sending me links?
Yeah, I'll send you links in a bit.
Okay.
But again, thanks PAX for having us come out. Had a great time. Everyone there was wonderful. It was wonderful, lovely. We'll do again. But moving on to that, I'm going to talk for a little bit more. Then Adam will stop speaking for the rest of the podcast. You won't hear from this guy ever again. I got to review a Devolver Digital game, a little game called Sumerian 6. Joel, if you have stuff you want to throw up randomly throughout.
This is the knockoff version of the Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, just like the Sinister Six. No, so by the way, this is a game by Artificer, published by Devolver. I do have to let everyone know that I did get a key for review, so just a big heads up. They gave me a key for review, everyone. I gotta let you know. But this game, I was so excited because I just saw a random thing on Twitter and was like, hey, this looks interesting, let us know and we'll hook up with you. And then they sent me an email like a month later. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And I didn't even realize it was a Devolver game. I just thought the game looked cool. So the idea of this game, Sumerian 6, lead an unlikely team of commando scientists beyond enemy lines to fight Nazis, uncover arcane mysteries, and wield experimental technology to turn the tide of World War II in this real-time tactical stealth adventure. So the idea of this game, you are in, like World War II era. You have a group of 6 people eventually, and they all have weird, crazy powers. And it's like a stealth tactics game, and it's super cool. So the idea is that, I know you guys probably haven't played it, but there was a studio called Me, which made a lot of very popular. So you guys ever heard of, was it Shadow Tactics, Shadow Gambit, or Curse of the Shadow Gambit? There was a genre of, they were the only people making stealth games like this, where it's like real time, you move around the map, and like if you get caught, you kind of fail, kind of an idea. And that studio just shut down after they put out their last game, which was Curse of the Shadow Gambit, which was pirate stealth game. And that studio is like gone now, but they were like the ones making like all their games were like highly rated. They are very much loved. This feels like this studio is like, okay, we're going to pick up that baton and we're going to keep carrying it forward, because people don't make games in this genre, but it is the one that's still doing it, and it's very good. Like legitimately, I was surprised how much I like this game, because like, you know, I didn't know much about it. We'll check it out, and I was like, oh no, this game hits. I'm like, that's right. I love those me games. So yeah.
What are you saying? Are you saying me?
It's MIMI is the name of that studio. Okay. I think it's me. I would assume. I don't know. So yeah, the idea, players must avoid detection by enemies. So it's again, it's a stealth game. They have like their cones. You can always see where their cones are at. And you can like do cover, and you got to move bodies and stuff. But again, the crazy thing is that everyone has special powers. They try to do it as like science. Like one of your guys can literally, it's like he can attach himself to people. So like as a guy is walking around, you like teleport into his body, and then you can jump out of his body at any point and reposition yourself. One of the girls you get she's like a poisoner, and she literally like, it takes her longer to kill people, but their bodies literally dissolve in acid and go away. One of the guys you get is, hey, you get a werebear. There's literally a man who turns into a bear on your team, and he can kill like heavy units in one hit, but he just can't stealth because he's a giant bear. And it's really, really fun. I like it a lot. They change up the mechanics. All the maps are interesting, and it's just like, basically it's like, here's a puzzle room of how to do a stealth challenge. Go figure it out with your weirdos with all their really cool powers. A lot of synergy. It's a lot of like, all right, let me pause this. You kill this person. You kill that person. You teleport with that person to switch him over here, and then this guy will melt that person. And then you hit the button, and they all do their crazy things at once. And killing Nazis is always a good time. And then it's also the art style. If you're watching the video, it's not even cel shaded. I would say it's comic book. Like it's literally feels like 80s era Marvel comic books. Got the deep lines on it, got the little dots around the corners and stuff. Fun and vibrant game. Stealth gameplay is a ton of fun. And again, every time you're playing and getting a new character, they're changing up mechanics. It stayed interesting the entire time I played. Super into it. And again, it's basically a puzzle game where you kill Nazis, and you got to do it stealthily. We're watching the thing. The bear just threw an explosive barrel, kill some Nazis. Like, I don't understand how you wouldn't like this game. So legitimately, I played it for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to play it completion because like I legit like everything about it. The story's fun, the character's fun, gameplay is a ton of fun. I was very surprised. I didn't know what it was until like a month ago, and I was like, yo, this slaps ass. So everyone, if you're interested, check out Sumerian 6. It is on Steam at the moment, and check out a fun stealth game. That's my review, and I am going to now not speak for 25 minutes. Thank you.
We're all waiting for.
Off to? What do you? Yeah, who's going? What's
I was going to say we're all waiting for Adam to break his vow and start speaking.
I'm not talking anymore.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Chad, what have you been playing?
I have 2 things I've been playing. We're gonna start with Black Myth Wukong, y'all. That last episode we did 2 weeks ago with the great thumbnail. I was like, man, Black Myth Wukong is so much fun. This game took over. This game was all I could think about. I am now almost to the end of chapter 3, I think, out of 5 chapters. I'm playing it. What's really great is I'm playing it side by side with my brother-in-law, and we're both kind of going through it. It's really fun to hear, like, he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, this boss, really easy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that boss took me fucking 14 tries. I can't believe you just beat him in 1 or 2. And then I'm just like, oh man, I beat that dragon in like 2 tries. And he was like, I've been doing it for 2 days. So like, it's really cool to see like our different play styles and how we go through it. But this game, I misrepresented it last time because I was talking about how like the in-between boss areas, like the actual like levels of the game felt almost, I think I said almost mindless, even though those weren't the words that I wanted to say, but it felt like you really didn't even have to like consider necessarily how to play through them efficiently or effectively. It was just the bosses you had to worry about. But that changes. That changes as you get to chapter 2. It very much it feels like, I remember playing God of War 2018 for the first time and being like, holy shit, I have to actually play this very differently than I had other God of War games. I have to actually think about what attacks I'm going to do and when, and how I'm going to time them, and when I'm going to block and when I'm going to parry and dash and that kind of stuff. And this feels the same way now. It also has excellent pacing. Like you probably could go from one boss battle to the next boss battle in 2 to 3 minutes. If you just kind of sprint to it, which makes it really great for when you lose a boss battle because you spawn basically right there and you can just continue to do it over and over. So it's great to be like, oh man, I only got like, I just beat this boss. Let me just get to the next one and then I'll save and quit for the night there. And then you get to the next one and you're like, but I fought a bunch of bosses so far and like, maybe I'll just one-shot this boss. Who knows? So I'll just fight it one time. And it was like, I lost, but like, I know what I did wrong. And then you finally beat that boss and then you're like, well, yeah, I could just get to the next one. And I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to play for an hour. And then 3, 4, 5 hours go by and I'm like, holy shit, I've spent so much time on this game. But it's incredible. This game has, we see it on the screen right now. This game has so many different spells and skills and abilities. And it feels like you're unlocking some new spirit to summon, some new transformation, some new skill, some new spell every freaking like few minutes. And it's, the progression, the bosses, everything is so good. It's so satisfying. So very, very into this game. It is on the short list for me for Game of the Year consideration. Highly recommend. I am running into, it feels like it all happened after a patch that I'm starting to occasionally experience frame rate hiccups where it's not even like frame rate necessarily, it just like stutters for a second and then comes back and we're good. But it's, I have been playing on quality mode. I dipped it down to balanced. I haven't yet tried performance though. So that might not be a thing on performance. It might just be this patch came and borked something and it'll go back to normal after another patch. Who knows? But aside from that, this game is stellar.
I'm excited. One thing I'm looking forward to, it's just, Twitter algorithm. I think it's the last boss or maybe it's like near the end of the game, what they do. And I'm like, that looks wild. That looks fun. That's a journey to get there, but what they do at the end, I think it's the end. Maybe it's just a boss battle, but I'm like, ooh, that's cool. So yeah, very, very. I'm glad you're excited. Yeah. Everyone in the world loves this game. It's wild.
I know, it's wild. Also, what I love is usually in like a Dark Souls game, I feel like you get, I don't know, 12 to 15 bosses throughout the game to fight, and this one, Chapter 2, literally by itself has 17 different bosses. And of course, most of them are optional, but they're still so fun, and each one of them is unique and awesome and cool, and love it. So, Black Myth Wukong, still dope.
It's almost like Chad has played 2 Game of the Year contenders back to back.
Yeah, I know. I beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth not too long ago.
I guess 3 times in a row.
And also Destiny 2 Final Shape.
Well, you're right going silly now.
You're right. It's like 3 in a row.
I was trying to tee you up, but now you're just being silly.
Then Astrobot, baby, beat it last night. Got an email from PlayStation literally immediately after I beat it that said, congratulations, you beat Astrobot. It only took you 0 hours and you got 0 trophies. And I was like, well, it worked that like you knew that I beat it, but you got a lot of other things wrong. This game's fucking magic. This game, if you like video games, hi, I'm Chad Michael Ennis, fellow video game lover. If you also like video games, you should fucking play Astrobot, because I know a lot of people we played Astrobot, everyone in the world who got a PS5. It's on your PS5 and it's like a love letter to Sony PlayStation, kind of the hardware specifically. Whereas this is a love letter to character platformers, because there are so many brilliant mechanics.
I was going to say, but right also, now on screen, it's like a love letter to Minish Cap, which spoilers we'll be talking about soon.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite freaking abilities in this thing, is the shrink down to a mouse and then come back up. But this one is much more about the games and the characters. In fact, there are 300 bots to rescue throughout the entire galaxy, and 150 of them are video game characters. And each one of those video game characters then has another thing that you can unlock in the home world, like a signature item that they have, or a signature chair that they sit in, or a spaceship, or a companion that then lets them do like some alternate animation when you interact with them in the world. So there's like extra ways to interact there. They have some of my favorite content in this game, aside from all of it, is at the end of each of the 5 worlds is you actually like kind of play a game, like the game becomes another game. The one we've seen in the trailer is God of War. So like you get the Leviathan axe and you play basically as Kratos. You have the beard and all that shit, and you're using a lot of mechanics from God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, but just astrobotified, and it's fucking wonderful. And I won't spoil the other four, but I always get to those and I'm like, wow, this is not only is it like a cool cheeky reference, but is also like a really faithful recreation in this joyful form, using this world and these characters. So this game's fantastic. It's stunning. It is flawless in terms of like performance. No frame rate hiccups. Looks beautiful. Soundtrack slaps everyone's asses. I cannot wait to platinum it, which hopefully will be only after like probably another hour or two tonight. And then this psychopath, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go hook back up my PlayStation VR 1 and play through Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Chad, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, because I never played the first one in VR. I own it, but I played like 5 minutes, and Elise was like, "Ooh, that looks fun. I like Mario. This looks like Mario. Let me try it." I never played it again. I never got that back.
This is incredible. This is one of my favorite games. Every second of it is just like joyous. And the pace is so great too. Every level is like 5 to 8 minutes, maybe. Even the challenge levels, they're very, very, very short, but obviously they include particularly challenging like platforming sections, so they can take you several tries. But yeah, it's all very short. They respect your time so much that the second time you come back to a level, if you missed a puzzle piece or if you missed a character or a secret exit, yes, there are secret exits. Like this is everything you would want from a platform. And there's secret exits in a secret world and all that kind of stuff. If you missed one and you come back for a nominal fee in in-game coins, you can like unlock this bird that will go off whenever you're like, hey, you're close to the secret that you missed last time you were here. And you're like, great. You respect my time. You respect the pace of all of this. It's so great. It's perfect. It's wonderful. I love it so much. I want to marry it, and I want to have all these little baby bot kids.
Real quick, did anyone here ever play The Playroom, which was the like PlayStation 4 Astrobot game?
Yes.
Was it good?
Actually, sorry. I was playing The Playroom VR. I played Playroom VR. No, I lied. I played The Playroom.
Oh.
Because I had got the camera, and I remember you could see me in my living room, and there were all the little robots on the floor, and you could play peekaboo with them, and you cover your eyes, and they're like, and then you go like this, and you open your eyes, and they all go, and they start running everywhere. So yes, I did play that.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it was a tech demo, much more of a tech demo than like the Astrobot thing on PlayStation 5. And in fact, the VR one was kind of in between those two, where the VR one was cool because there was like 5-player things. You could have 4 people with controllers and 1 person with the VR headset. And so like one of you was the cat with the VR headset, and the other 4 people were controlling mice. And you had to like poke your head out at the right time to catch the mice and all that kind of shit. And there were other mini games in it too, but they're all quality.
Because I'm thinking right now, because I've already played Astro Rescue Mission. I've already played Astrobot on the demo VR, not the demo VR game, but the PS5 demo game. And now I'm thinking I should probably go back and complete the entire cycle if I'm this committed to this bot as well.
I think technically Astro, the character, the blue one with the cape, does not show up in the Playroom or the Playroom VR. But yeah. It's these adorable little bots.
I'm watching this trailer right now of the original PS4 game. That was certainly a time where we were really into AR stuff of like real people hanging around with these robots and whatnots and gadgets and gizmos in real life.
I just imagine someone playing that in a sex dungeon and how crazy that would look.
Oh man, it kind of looked like a sex dungeon. You turn the camera 90 degrees and all sorts of weird ass stuff is on the walls.
I played Uno back in the day on the 360 with the webcams. Man, I saw some stuff.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have a whole lot of stuff that I want to talk about because I've been out of the podcast for a couple of weeks. I've been playing and doing a lot of things, but I think that for the sake of time, because we also do want to do TMI with NPD on this episode, I'm just going to talk about the last thing that I have on my list because this is super duper fresh, happened just yesterday, and I figure it'd be a fun little way to kind of round out this segment. So, I would have been playing Astrobot Rescue Mission myself this past weekend. However, I was not able to because Friday evening, I embarked on a trip to my family cottage in the Eastern Townships because I was due to take part in a bike course in the Eastern Townships. The Eastern Townships being a countryside region in the southeast of Montreal in the province of Quebec. This is a bike course that's organized by a company called Vélo Québec, which basically does a bunch of these sort of courses around the island of Montreal. Earlier this year, they did what was called the Metropolitan Challenge, which was located in the north of the island of Montreal. That was 60 kilometers, or at least the course that I took part in that particular course was 60 kilometers. By the way, I appreciate the footage that you're currently showing on screen right now, Joel. Good job.
Can you what is a bike course? Is it a race? Is it like a marathon where like everyone just go at your own pace? Is it all at the same time?
It's go at your own pace. It's go at your own pace. They do have,
but it's organized. Everyone shows up on a day, and we all do this course at the same time. It's not like not like the Appalachian Trail where everyone goes and hikes it and dies on it.
Right,
whatever age you are.
And you have choices in terms of how you want to participate in the course. You can do a slightly shorter course, slightly longer course. You can choose whether or not you want to have your included lunch at the initial starting point or at a rest stop along the way. But it's not a thing that has any sort of medal awarded to the fastest people of it at the end. It's just a casual go as you go. So previous one I participated in, the Metropolitan Challenge, was 60 kilometers. This one in the Eastern Townships was 74 kilometers, a little bit higher, an increase of about 1.23 times. And ahead of time, I was like, all right, I'm going to...
That's 45.98 miles, by the way.
That is indeed. If you lived in good old America land. So ahead of time, I'm, doing everything I can to get my bike in tip-top shape. I get a new phone holder for my bike that works much better than my previous old crappy phone holder, so it's not just jiggling and jostling around as I go on some gravelly, bumpy roads. Although I will say the roads of this course were generally pretty well paved, very few gravelly, bumpy roads. And so the night before, me and Papa Cozy are packing up the car so that we can go to our cottage. Because the idea is that the bike course starts in a small town called Bromo, which is like closer to our cottage than it's close to our home in Montreal. So we're going to go to our cottage, and then the next day, Saturday morning, we'll just go to the starting course in Bromo. And the thing is, to load our bikes on our car, we have this rack that's held together by these two very kind of wide screws that you manually screw in place. And so
you screw these into the Subaru Outback?
You basically insert the rack into the Subaru Outback, and it is as sexual as you're imagining it to be. And then you basically, like, the top of the rack is like this flat rectangular piece, and then you have another flat rectangular piece that you screw in on top of that. And then the bikes are sandwiched in between the two rectangular pieces, basically. And so I go to grab the bike rack, and in doing so, I accidentally launch the topmost piece in the air that has the screws on it. And so I resolve, I'm going to grab this wayward bike piece later. So I finish bringing my bike to the car along with the rest of the rack, go back to look for the other piece, and I notice that one of the two screws is missing. And so I start looking for it. Eventually, both my parents join in the search as well. We spend at least like half an hour with our flashlights and whatnot. My dad gets a light bulb and this big old lantern from the basement trying to find it.
Oh my God, it's nighttime. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, this is like late at night. Not quite like complete pitch blackout, but like definitely late into the dusk of the Montreal evening, and nothing shows up. Like, it vanished into thin air. And like, it's not like an impossibly small screw. It's like a decent sized thing. You can comfortably hold it in the palm of your hand, and we're just dumbstruck. Like, where the hell did it go? And so eventually we decided, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to use a bunch of bungee cords in the sole remaining screw to keep my bike and my dad bike secure on the rack. And so we drive to the cottage from there. We're a little nervous during the drive about the bikes falling off, but there ends up being no issue. Nothing to report there. And so following morning, me and Pop Cozy get early. We have some breakfast, and we drive to the starting point of this course in Bromo. And we arrive. I get on my bike. I start the course, and I begin hearing an odd noise. And I assume it's probably some sort of issue with my gears. Maybe I accidentally shifted them one way or another. And so I start shifting them around, sort of fixes the problem, but something still seems off. And so eventually, after 5 minutes of weirdness, I get off my bike to inspect it. And there's this missing screw, the screw that we were looking for last night, lodged in my bike's front gear. And I don't know how it happened. But somehow, when I threw the top rectangular piece of my bike rack the night before, the screw that went flying out of it basically somehow got lodged in the front gear of my bike. And we just didn't think to look there because we're like, there's no way it could so perfectly land in my bike. And so I fish it out of there, take a picture of it, send a text to my dad being like, hey, you're not going to believe this, but I found the other screw, and I'll, complete the bike course. I have another 73 kilometers to go, and then I'll come back with it and we'll rejoice and celebrate and, attach it to my bike as best as I can so I won't lose it again. Start pedaling again. And mere moments after I start pedaling again, my chain becomes completely misaligned from my bike's front gear and falls off. And confused, I try to I get off, I physically start pulling the chain onto my gear again, which is very, very grisly work because my hands are just getting covered in all sorts of black soot and it just keeps coming off over and over again. It's just real bad. And it's at this point that I notice that there's a major problem with my bike's frame, which is that basically, if you ever looked at a bike, there is a central tube that descends downwards from the seat that is attached to the chain at the very bottom of it. That tube has become basically completely disconnected from the rest of the frame attached to it in such a way that it's still partially resting on the rest of the frame, but it is moved over enough that the chain attached to it basically is now so misaligned that it can't be reattached to the gear. That's why it keeps falling off of it. And basically,
is that part not usually? I feel like that part's usually welded in place. Is the weld completely broken now?
It basically is. Hold on. I can.
Woof.
Let me see real quick. I'm going to send you, Joel. I'm going to send you a picture just so that people can have a visual reference of what this looks like on the podcast. I just sent it to the chat on Video Ninja. This is the tweet that I put out of my predicament. And so, yeah, basically, we don't know 100% that this is exactly what happened. But what we think happened was basically the screw. It's, there we go. Yep, that one. And so we don't know 100% that this is what happened, but what we think happened was when the screw got lodged in the front gear of my bike, it got lodged. That's an image of just the screw by itself. That was moments.
Oh my God, that's not a screw. That's a freaking ginormous knob.
Yeah, this is moments before I realized that something was wrong.
Bolt. That's a lag bolt.
Yeah, that's a plastic knob.
Right. Great. Lag bolt. And so, yeah, basically we think what happened was the lag bolt, as we're calling it now, got lodged in my front gear in such a way that when I began to pedal my bike over the course of those 5 minutes before I realized that something was wrong, it basically chewed into the tube that it was embedded against and basically must have it weakened a crack that already existed there and basically is what caused it to become disaligned with the rest of the frame. And so in shame, I had to bike back, and by bike back, I mean I walked with my bike back to the starting line. Thankfully, my dad very graciously lent me his bike and I was able to complete the course with his bike. But yeah, too long.
What did he do? Did he run?
He was initially going to bike around the area. He was not participating in the bike course himself. Only I was doing it. And so he ended up doing some fun side activities. I felt a little bit bad taking his bike away from him, but he reassured me afterwards that he still had fun and did some fun stuff. But yeah, long story short, a single screw flew out of our bike rack, got lodged in my bike, forced me and my family to spend a half hour looking for it to no avail, and then seemingly chewed through my bike's frame while I pedaled over the span of 5 minutes and disconnected my bike's central seat tube and basically ruined my bike.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you didn't we watched the trailer for Bike Course, the movie, right at the beginning of this conversation. And it looked like there were some dangerous, I don't know, maybe cliffs by the beach, giant mountains, and if your bike you could have never come back.
Yeah, I
people would have sent us pictures at Respawn Aim Fire of you like dead on a beach.
In retrospect, I am incredibly grateful that I mean, my dad could have always picked me up by car if there was a real issue. I am grateful that happened like 5 minutes into the course, so it didn't take me very long to walk back. But man, that was an adventure. But I'm happy to finally be home and be ready to play Astrobot, which I will definitely be picking up tomorrow. Do we have time to play an installment of TMI with NPD?
We do.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Game On Game Show, the Game On Game Show we play a game on called Game On Game Show. I fucked it up. Cozy, take it.
Today we are going to be playing TMI with NPD for the year 2019. A year before the pandemic, a year before everything changed. This is, let me tell you, an interesting list in front of me today. As you know, I changed it up a little while back so that basically normally these lists are 10 entries long. And for every sports game that is in the top 10, I'll bump up the length of the list by 1 spot. So like if there were 3 sports games in the top 10, I would bump up the list to 13 spots. If there are 4 sports games, I would bump up the list to 14. This time around, only 12 games to speak about, meaning there are only 2 sports games in the top 10. It is an interesting list, to say the least.
Hey, Cozy, real quick.
Yes.
Shout out to Keaton and Mr. Hawks in the chat for getting to see this live. Is Joel allowed to play? Can Joel play?
Oh, great question.
Yeah, sure. Joel can play as well.
Joel's eating.
Okay, if Joel gets a chance, Joel can play if you want.
And by the way, thank you, Mr. Hawks 182. I was busy telling my bike story and I didn't notice that you were in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. And by the way,
okay, Keaton's just chopped liver. We're not gonna thank Keaton for being here.
And thank you to A_mass_Keaton as well. You are super duper awesome as well, and I apologize and regret accidentally glossing over you. I'm trying to get to the Game On Game Show TMI with NPD, and my mind has been firmly focused on that fact. But every time I just try to advance the show,
we're ready for the game now. If you'd like to continue.
All right. Rules as usual. The Chad lock is still in play, which means that 2 clues in, Chad can lock down the current entry and potentially get 1 chance to guess it himself, only once in the entire game. Again, the sports games are out of play, but maybe we'll still award some bonus points, depending on what they are. This year's Call of Duty is out of play, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is out of play. Are we ready?
Just a reminder again, because I forgot where we settled on this, but I think I remember. Where do games like PUBG and Fortnite and things like that are like free to play, they don't show up on these lists, right? This is like boxes, game sales.
No, they have not showed up on any of the previous 3 lists, and I don't think they'll show up on any of the future ones either.
Cool.
All right, number 12. The 12th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD group / Circana is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
For a bonus point, can you name for me 4 of the 6 Rockstar-owned studios that contributed to the development of Grand Theft Auto 5?
Rockstar North, Rockstar San Diego,
Rockstar North, Edmonton, Rockstar San Diego, Rockstar Edmonton,
Rockstar South,
Rockstar Prime.
Adam, do you want to guess a 4th one, or?
He said South.
I said North, South, San Diego, and Edmonton.
I'm afraid that both of you are incorrect. The actual 6 Rockstar-owned studios that contributed to development of Grand Theft Auto 5 were Rockstar North, got that one right, Rockstar San Diego, and then Rockstar Toronto, Rockstar Leeds, Leeds,
I wouldn't have got that,
Rockstar London, and Rockstar New England.
Okay.
All right, no bonus points there, but don't worry, we have plenty of opportunities to earn more points ahead of us, such as with number 11. The 11th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is a game that I'm considering taking out of play in the future, like Grand Theft Auto 5. It's one of the best-selling games of all time that's never been released on PC. It is a Nintendo game. And it is a racing game.
Mario Kart 8.
It is Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Same thing. One for Adam.
Not the same thing. One's a Wii U game and one's a Nintendo Switch game.
Chad, do not. Oh, so if you say GTA 5, it's technically Grand Theft Auto V. You're wrong. Like, come on.
No, these are two different. Like GTA 5, that's a spelling thing. This is different SKUs.
I will not rescind the point I was going to give Adam. He gets a full point, but I will give Chad 0.5 as well.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
All right, number 10. The 10th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is an online-only games as a service title. It is a game that was developed using the Snowdrop engine. It's a game set in good old Washington, D.C.
Chadlock.
Oh, Division 2.
I said Chadlock.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Chad did say Chadlock before you guessed your guess. So
the Division 2.
That is correct. It is the Division 2.
Good, because I was going to guess Final Fantasy 14, baby.
Number 9. The 9th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is an action RPG. It's a game that features the voice talents of Christian Bell, Josh Gad, and Zachary Levi.
Kingdom Hearts 3?
That is correct.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I was not
Josh Gad.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that Zachary Levi lent his voice talents to that game because, like,
who was he?
He was the male lead in Tangled. I forget his name.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, number 8, the 8th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is a returning game from last year's list. It is a game that features Pikachu and Jigglypuff.
Hey you, Pikachu. Hey you. Let's go. Sorry.
Let's go Eevee. Let's go Pikachu and Eevee.
Both incorrect.
Oh.
It's a game that was co-developed by
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
That is correct. It is Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Trying to get us with them Pokemans.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. The 7th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is an action game with Souls-like elements. It's a game that is set 5 years...
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice?
That is incorrect.
Butt sex.
It's a game that is set 5 years after the events of a popular movie. It features the voice talents of Cameron Monaghan and Deborah Wilson.
Star Wars Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order.
I
said Fallen Order first.
Appreciate the fact that Chad said...
No, I said Fallen Order first, but I didn't say Jedi.
I was going to say, Chad said the full name, and he said it
No, he just
before.
said he didn't say the full name.
Yeah, he said...
I said Star Wars Fallen Order, and then I said Jedi Fallen Order.
But...
Well, you didn't say Star Wars.
I was going to say...
Well, where do we go?
I feel...
I said all the words in some order. You said 3 of the words.
I'm going to have to tip my hat to Chad for saying most of the title, as opposed to Adam. It's just like the Fallen Order, whatever it is. All right. Number 6. The 6th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is a sequel to a game that released in 2015. Its cover art features a character named after a type of arachnid. It is another fighting game, and it was published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment?
Mortal Kombat 10?
That is incorrect.
Mortal Kombat 11?
That is correct.
It was one of those two. I was like, which Mortal Kombat is this?
All right, Here we go.
Devora, right?
What's the erected thing?
Scorpion.
What?
Scorpion. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Spider-Man.
Yeah. All right. Number 5. The 5th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is a game that personally disappointed me.
That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, shit.
It is the 3rd mainline entry in its franchise. It is a first-person shooter. And its franchise was recently adapted into a feature length.
Borderlands 3?
That is correct. It is Borderlands 3.
Yeah, Borderlands, best movie of all time.
Yeah, best movie of all time. Number 4. The 4th best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is one of the few 2019 games that I actually played and beat in 2019.
Ooh.
It is a game.
I'm going to burn it for the joke. Anthem?
No. Never played Anthem. It is a game that prominently features a curry cooking minigame.
Sword and Shield. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
That is correct. Good job, Adam. All right. Here we go. Number 3. The 3rd best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is Madden NFL 20.
Madden NFL 20.
For a bonus point, can you tell me which EA-owned studio developed Madden NFL 20?
Tiburon.
That is correct.
EA Tiburon. I said the full name.
Stop! You killing me with that. That's the full name.
Number 2.
You heard me say Pokemon Sword and Shield after I said Sword and Shield, just to be sure.
I mean,
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
That's what I said.
Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
There was
Shield,
enough of a delay
between
Chad, you saying Sword and Shield, and Chad saying whatever he said that I think I would still award
I said
it to
nothing.
Adam.
He said nothing at that one.
Okay, so he especially gets the point for that one. All right, number 2.
I was like, curry? Wasn't that just a thing in Arceus? But
the 2nd best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is NBA 2K20.
NBA 2K20.
For a bonus point, can you tell me...
2K Montreal.
No. Can you tell me the names of the 4 non-home console platforms that NBA 2K20 released on?
iOS, Android, Stadia,
PC.
NVIDIA streaming service, GeForce.
Adam, what are yours?
PC, Stadia, Android, Apple, iPhone, whatever you want to call it.
You got the last one not fully correct, but I will give you the point. It was Windows, iOS, Android, and Google Stadia.
Oh, wait. Windows and Steam are 2 different platforms.
I swear I said PC.
Oh,
I don't know.
JK.
Yeah.
JK Rowling.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what
it was Windows, not Steam. All right.
Okay.
Number 1. The number 1 best-selling game of the year 2019 per the NPD Group / Circana is this year's Call of Duty.
Call of
Duty.
Can you guess which it is?
Modern
Infinite
Warfare 2.
Sorry. Chad, you said?
Modern Warfare 2. 1. Modern Warfare 1.
You said Modern Warfare 2. Adam, what did you say?
Okay, my second guess is Modern Warfare 1.
I'm going to say Vanguard.
What was the previous one you said, though?
I said Infinite Warfare.
Okay, Infinite Warfare and Vanguard are both incorrect. Chad, you said Modern Warfare 2, which was incorrect. What is your second guess?
Modern Warfare 1. It's Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That is correct.
Fuck
was this a year?
Yeah, this was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remake.
I thought that was 2020 because of Warzone became a big thing in 2020, but maybe it was already out. I don't know.
I think that's the case. Some other fun little highlights from the top 20 list as a whole. At number 15, Chad, it's a game that you already previously mentioned, Anthem, sitting at the number 15 spot.
Hey, remember that one?
Higher than I would have thought. At number 17, Resident Evil 2. At number 18, Luigi's Mansion 3. And at number 19, rounding out the list, Days Gone.
Days Gone.
I was going to ask you,
man.
where I was remembering Game Awards because it was Resident Evil 2, it was Control, and it was Sekiro. And are none of those in the top 20?
Fuck yeah, Control.
Well, you said Resident Evil 2 was 17, but
Control and Sekiro are nowhere to be seen in the top 20. Just Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, wow.
Control, Game of the Year for me, 2019, baby. Also, speaking of Days Gone, I forgot I was going to make this comparison. You know how in like a lot of times PR marketing people are like, blah, blah, blah is as much a character in the game as you are. And they said that about the motorcycle in Days Gone. We're like, oh, the motorcycle is just as much a in Astrobot, though, the controller really is like is just as much like not only is it literally a character in the thing that you're flying around in and that you're shooting water and shit like that from, but it also like your physical controller that you're holding in your hands is just so responsive.
Yeah, they'd be in there like,
let
me out.
The speaker. Oh my god, all of the shit they're doing with the speaker in there. That game fucking slaps. Everyone go play Astrobot right now.
Yeah. I will say, Blessing in the kind of funny review said that he played the whole game with headphones on, and I honestly feel like that probably takes away from the experience.
Yeah,
because
don't do that.
The controller functionality is awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
Definitely noted for my own playthrough as well. And that is TMI with NPD.
That's it for Game On Game Show. That is it for this one of Respawn Aim Fire. Thank you everyone for listening. We have updates, brand new news on your homework. Your homework the last 2 weeks was to go to patreon.com/Respawn Aim Fire and vote for whatever game we're going to play for September. And you all did. And that game, Cozy, do you know what it was?
It is Plumbers.
Are we playing the Little Pervert game?
Don't Wear Ties. There is, of course, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, originally a 3DO game back in the day on the 3DO video game console. However, if you do not have a 3DO, Limited Run Games recently released a definitive edition of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties that's basically available on every modern console under the sun, Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So, yeah, go out, grab a copy, have fun. And we will be back at the end of the month to discuss what is sure to be a masterpiece of an experience.
Really quick.
Dope.
Remember, there will be links in the description to all the games we talked about at PAX, as well as Sumerian 6. And then also in the chat, Keaton shared this Kickstarter for Beyond Shadowgate, the official sequel to the classic NES adventure game, has already cleared its goal. So we're going to get that game at some point. But Keaton wanted to mention it, so I'm going to mention it here. But yeah, all those links for those games we talked about, as well as Sumerian 6, will be available in the description of the episode.
Sweet. Also, Alto, Balto, Age of Ultron, Oliver Twist, you have exclusive access as a patron to a month of exclusivity for our most recent RAF game show, which currently is not the Olympics, Gaming Athlon
Horror Edition.
Fall.
Gaming Athlon
Horror
Edition.
Horror, Patreon, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Horror. Yeah, so if you're a patron, you get access right now to the Scream-a-thon, shouty-outy, nasty, scary, gooey, gory version.
Was Joel able to retain his championship title, or was there a new contender that showed up and
let me tell
took
you,
things away?
Joel fucking it pisses me off in this episode. That's all I'll say. His ignorance pisses me off in this episode. That's all I'll say. Go watch it. Patreon.com/RespawnAimFire. $1 gets you access to that for the whole month of September. Everyone else, you now have access to the first Gaming Athlon, the Summer Gaming Athlon and Olympics. And that's also a great one. Great thumbnails, by the way, Cozy.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
It's a collection of 4 different trivia type games that Adam has put together and is hosting, and Cozy has put together visuals for that are stunning. So that's now available for free for everyone on YouTube. It's on podcast services too, but like you miss out a lot. So go listen to the YouTube version with your eyes. Speaking of end of the month barf stuff, we are literally right now going to go record our barf episode for Zelda the Minish Cap, so keep an ear and an eye out for that coming very, very soon as well. In fact, it should already be out by the time you are listening to this. I think that's it, everyone. Yeah?
Yeah. It is.
Cozy, you got season 4, 5, 6 of Cozy Bear's Kitchen?
It is coming up soon, pretty soon. Cozy Bear's Cooking Season 6 will debut on September 25th. Don't worry, Chad. One day you'll get it correctly. I don't have a whole lot to share.
I didn't say Cooking with Cozy this time, which is what I usually go with. So
I don't have a whole lot to share right now, but you can definitely expect more information on the coming season of Cooking Goodness over the coming weeks.
Dope. Adam, where can people get that sweet hat?
You had to go to PAX West and have an appointment with the the co-founder of Behemoth to get one of these cool hats. But yeah,
love it. Joel, what color underwear are you wearing?
They're maroon and they have dogs on them.
Oh, are the dogs also maroon?
No.
Fuck
They're
yeah,
just a bunch of different dogs. They're MeUndies.
Love it. Love it. All right. With that, everyone, here's our usual sign. Thank you so much for listening. Here's our usual sign off. That hat is bright as hell.